Let's take a look at what he's been up to now that he's mayor.
Good afternoon, my friends.
Yeah, he's abolished the NYPD.
Today is the start of a new era for New York City. It is Inauguration Day. It is also the day that the rent is due.
Boo.
At midnight last night, I swore my oath to become the mayor of New York City. Just a few hours ago, today, I celebrated with tens of thousands of New Yorkers. Many of them left our ceremony to return to houses and apartments that do not feel like homes, where bad landlords do not make repairs, where rents constantly rise, where roaches crawl in the hallways and heat in the chill of winter comes rarely, if ever. These New Yorkers voted for a new day for our city because the past one is clouded by housing insecurity and instability, where they cannot afford a life of dignity in the city that they love. Today, on the first day of this new administration, on the day where so many rent payments are due, we will not wait to deliver action. And we will stand up on behalf of the tenants of this city. Yes, we know we are fighting for a rent freeze. But that is not the extent of our efforts. We will also stand up for tenants, build new housing, and get New Yorkers into housing faster. Today, we are announcing 3 executive orders. The first will be to revive the mayor's office to protect tenants.
Yes.
We will not compromise on housing quality. If your landlord does not responsibly steward your home, city government will step in.
Now, allow me to interject that announcement with a little bit of footage from a different video. Look at this.
When did this happen?
I can't remember exactly the year.
The year?
More than years.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani inspecting broken floor tiles in an apartment on Clarkson Avenue in Prospect Lefferts Gardens, getting a first-hand look at the deteriorating conditions, from an eroding bathtub surface to a rust-covered, corroded bathroom pipe and red paint splashed about.
And you told the landlord about this?
Yes.
And what was the response?
Call some numbers, but nobody want to do anything about it.
Residents in this same building and in
Imagine being the shitty derelict landlord who has the mayor show up on your property on the second day of his mayorship. You've got a news crew and the mayor there. His whole thing is he's taking on bad landlords. You're the example he's chosen. Oh, fuck. Speaking of tummy aches.
others owned by the landlord Pinnacle Realty say they've experienced similar conditions, from leaking bathroom ceilings to moldy drywall. Tenant unions rallying in response, demanding stronger tenant protections.
This is what Mamdani was saying about demanding more from your government, okay? There are already laws preventing this, or prohibiting this. The landlords are not allowed to allow their units to fall into this state of disrepair. It's not legal. It's just that the city government hasn't done anything about it. That's it. Mamdani simply chooses to enforce the law. When privatization advocates, when, deregulation advocates talk about, the privatization of the market or about overregulation, what they're really advocating for is that the government simply not enforce the law. They're advocating for lawlessness. These laws were carved out in stone for good reason, because they make life better for people. They want it. It's just chaos. Well, actually, if your landlord sucks, then just move, bro, from your rent stabilized apartment in New York City. Just move into Jersey City. Just be 2 hours away from your job. Whatever. That's definitely easier and more sustainable than just getting the city to force your landlord to follow the law.
On his first day in office, Mamdani made his first major policy announcement, signing 3 executive orders aimed at protecting tenants and fast-tracking housing across the city. He said this building, along with 92 others owned by the same landlord, is currently in bankruptcy proceedings and set to be auctioned off to a new owner, one who also ranks among the city's worst landlords.
Yeah, of course. Obvious. It's all a race to the bottom, you know? These buildings should be acquired by the state.
Buildings alone, there are more than 5,000 open hazardous violations and 14,000 complaints. This is an untenable situation. So today we are announcing that we will be taking action in the bankruptcy case, stepping in to represent the interests of the city and the interests of the tenants and say once and for all who this government will be fighting for.
The mayor also reestablishing the city's office to protect tenants with a mission to defend tenants' rights and intervene quickly when they face illegal living conditions. It's a step that gives tenants like Mildred Ross hope.
To hear this executive order is something we're really excited about.
Back to the announcement.
We will make sure that 311 violations are resolved, and we will hold slumlords to account for hazardous and dangerous threats to your well-being. The second is to create a LIFT task force. LIFT stands for Land Inventory Fast Track, to leverage city-owned land and accelerate housing development. The task force will review city-owned properties and identify sites suitable for housing development no later than July 1st of this year. The last executive order
How's Fox News reporting the story? My understanding is that Fox News is almost exclusively talking about him saying that we need to embrace the warmth of collectivization, or collectivism, sorry. So they're still busy with that one. I don't think Fox News is spending much time on this, or in fact on his 24-hour meet and greet with New Yorkers.
The creation of the SPEED task force. SPEED standing for streamlining procedures to expedite equitable development. This task force will identify and remove bureaucratic and permitting barriers that drive up costs and slow housing construction and lease up, making it more affordable to build and easier to access housing across New York City. These two task forces will be overseen by our incredible Deputy Mayor for Housing and Planning, Leila Bozarg. These are sweeping measures, but it is just the beginning of a comprehensive effort to champion the cause of tenants too long ignored and homes too expensive. We are here today at 85 Clarkson Avenue.
Sounds right.
This building is owned by Pinnacle Realty, a notorious landlord whose name is all too familiar to far too many renters in New York City.
It's over.
Tenants like Josie Wells, who we will...
Cute.
Who we will hear from shortly, contend with a lack of heat, roaches, and the kind of conditions that no New Yorker should have to live through. This building and 92 others owned by the same landlord are in bankruptcy proceedings. And they are set to be auctioned off to a different landlord, one who ranks number 6 on the worst landlord list in New York City. In those buildings alone, there are more than 5,000 open hazardous violations and 14,000 complaints. This is an untenable situation. So today we are announcing that we will be taking action in the bankruptcy case. Stepping in to represent the...
How are there 5,000 violations? Oh, dude, the local governments literally just don't enforce laws if you are a business or a wealthy individual. Wealthy people who live in cities can rack up an infinite number of tickets without ever having their car taken or their driver's license suspended. Businesses can rack up an infinite number of violations without ever facing any penalties. Maybe they have some pithy fine they have to pay now and again, but nothing ever serious. The ruling ideology of municipal government in the United States is that the law literally does not apply to those individuals. Like, that is just the standard everywhere. They just don't apply. They don't even have to put effort into like circumventing the law, by the way. Like, it's just an unspoken rule that none of these rules have to be followed.
Interests of the city and the interests of the tenants, and say once and for all who this government will be fighting for. I have directed my nominee for Corporation Counsel, Steve Banks, to take precedent-setting action in the bankruptcy case on behalf of the renters of this building and of the thousands of other renters across New York in similar situations. We are a creditor and interested party. The city is owed money that Pinnacle never paid. And we will fight for New Yorkers' interests to safe and habitable homes. In doing so, we will protect tenants already long neglected from further neglect, and we will mitigate the significant risk of displacement they currently face. For too long, bad landlords have been allowed to mistreat their tenants with impunity. That ends today. No longer will government turn a blind eye as working-class New Yorkers, many of them in neighborhoods of color, are treated as pawns in a game where landlords never feel the consequences of those kinds of actions.
He's so smart for keeping himself in the news cycle. Kind of crazy. It turns out like Democrats actually can do something, by the way. Kind of crazy, right? Like it turns out that winning the election does not then mean that you close the grand doors to your palace and just begin your 4-year term of being a banal, uninteresting bureaucrat. You can actually like keep doing things over and over when you're a mayor or a president.
But certainly not least, you cannot hold such violations of the law to account unless you have a proven, principled, and tireless fighter at the helm. That is why I am proud today to announce my friend, Sia Weaver. As the director of the newly reinvigorated mayor's office to protect tenants. Sia has a peerless record of standing up for tenants in our city. As the director of Housing Justice for All, she has fought in Albany to deliver pro-tenant legislation, from stronger rent laws to good cause eviction to more affordable housing for all New Yorkers. We are creating the mayor's office to protect tenants, with Sia leading the charge, because this work has too long been relegated to an afterthought. We fight hard to win new rights for tenants across the city, only to find that those tenants are never told of those rights. Millions of tenants across this city are eager for a day when their needs are no longer ignored and forgotten by those in power. Today marks that new era for this city, one where we will follow through on the...
She is super base, by the way. Looks like a homosexual. Very important. Obviously. Been described as a, quote, foe of the real estate industry. Proponent of rent stabilization, protection from eviction. Advocacy has included support for canceling rent, banning evictions, and utilizing rent strikes as a tactic. Whew. I hope that her incorporation into the actual halls of government doesn't dull her teeth, you know?
The promises we have made, and where we stand up for those who have too often been left to stand alone. I want to thank every tenant who is joining us today, and I want to thank Sia Weaver for joining in this work. It is now a great pleasure and an honor of mine to introduce the new executive director of the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants, Sia Weaver.
Which we could look at, but right now we're talking about MAMDANI, and there's still stuff to look at. If we looked at every single thing MAMDANI and people associated with MAMDANI said publicly, that would be the entire channel for the next 4, hopefully 8 years. Assuming I'm even still around by then. But there is more. I'm really worried the left can't handle victory, and having one of our own in office, every mistake, every compromise will be met with extreme overreaction. Thankfully, the base of support for MAMDANI is not just the hyper-online leftists, but also, like, regular people in New York, you know? Those people are antisocial, definitionally, and will never represent a majority of the population. As long as he holds the hearts of New Yorkers in his hand, he'll be okay. But we do still need to defend him with all of our heart,